Hello? Oh, I guess that you can hear me. So this is the Angular way. It's a presentation about this framework, which is quite becoming more and more popular right now. And my name is Marcin Wosinek. I have 5 years IT experience. It's with web development, I've learned JavaScript, but with C#, I've learned doing unit tests. And right now I'm a Roche contractor in Poznań. And I have a question to you. Who have heard about AngularJS? Okay. So it's becoming more and more well-known. Who have heard positive things? I like it. And who have heard negative things? Okay. But who from you, which one of you were working with Angular? Okay. So we have a little bit of a buzz about AngularJS. It's this stuff that is made by Google. There is a lot of talks on conference, like this one. They say that it's testable. They said that you can write really short code, and there is this thing, two-way binding, which gets more and more traction. But what's the reality? The reality is that it's just a tool. So you can use it in a proper way, or you can use it in a wrong way. So if you get your tools doing stuff they are not created to do, you will fail. And we have, with all these JavaScript frameworks, we have, they share some mistakes or pitfalls. You actually, you really, the thing which you need to have to use JavaScript browser-side framework is like you need JavaScript on the browser side. You need to have it. It's tricky to make to make search engines work with that code. So if you have a lot of content served by JavaScript, it's always tricky to make Google index it. And it's actually those are the issues which are shared by all frameworks, and no matter if you use Angular, Ember, or Backbone, you always stumble upon this. And this is the thing which still happens. We still have users, in some cases, using browsers which doesn't have JavaScript, like here is links and site server fault. So with Angular, you will not support this case. We still have Internet Explorer 6, which some users use. So in that case, we will be rather screw up if we have too much JavaScript. And what's the strong points of Angular? The strong points are basically the single page apps. So if you have some apps which is loaded once, and then is communicating with backend via REST, is the case which Angular supports quite in a really good way. Other things are very complex forms. So if you have a business case where the user fills some fields in your form, then the other part of this form is changing, and so on and so on and so on. This is nicely supported by Angular, and the rest is communication with REST, and RESTful APIs is done in a nice way. And there is one really nice thing about Angular. When we start with this not really nice formed code, when we have a lot of symbolized by the first like place, it's we can really easily refactor it to be more and more Angular. So we can start doing only some small parts of our site, like one menu or like some components of our site which will be implemented by using Angular, and the rest of the site rendered by Java, by PHP, and so on, and then gradually moving more and more things into Angular and refactoring it very smoothly into one-page app. So this is the case which is really nice supported by Angular. You can start with a mess and then gradually build something which will be beautiful. And what's the domain of Angular? What are the cases which are supported by framework really nice? This can be like admin pages. So we have users which are already logged. We know that there won't be Google hitting to that site. So our users get to our site. There are content authors. There are some editors. There are the people whom we can force to use some technologies, like modern browsers and so on. And in that case, we can expect a lot of complex forms and stuff like this. So this is the case where Angular works really nice, when we have already logged users and they are doing some content authoring. Other things are, for example, shopping carts. But in this place, we need to remember about those users which are using like very old browsers, and probably make some fallback for them. And what is not case for Angular? Definitely, this is actually a wiki page. You are not supposed to build a site which will be just presenting some data to user. So just build whatever which compiles to HTML, serve this HTML to user, and forget about JavaScript. So you won't need to think about how to feed that data to Google. And the other things which are not the case good for Angular are games. So basically, those are examples which you are not supposed to build with Angular, and where you are not supposed to expect anything really nice from Angular. And how the MV star looks in Angular? We have kind of separation like this. We have model, controller, view. View and controller are bound by this concept which is quite unique to Angular. Those are directives. So directives are extensions to HTML, which took the data from controller. We use them in HTML, and they communicate with JavaScript. And controllers are small pieces of code which just takes data, which uses services to get model, to get data from the backend or other persistent storage. So actually, we can expect that business logic will end up on the model side. We can expect infrastructure logic like communication with REST or doing some persistent on the client side in services. On the controller, there should be really simple functions or really simple methods which will be dealing only with the view. Directives are the only place where we are supposed to put anything touching the DOM, and views are built with declarative binding. So it's like we said that in this place we would like to we want to have data from some variable, and then we get those this data, and we don't think why it happened. It's just happening. So here we can take a close look on the directives. So you can see that it's quite similar to every other rendering language, because we can make some kind of ifs. It's with ng show or ng hide. We can bind the variable from the scope, from the controller, let's say, with the thing which the user is getting. We can load the current root with ngView. We can do switches and stuff like this. This is just this typical and simple rendering language. And the other thing which we are supposed to, the other things which Angular offers us, the other thing which makes this framework the thing which it is in the real is modules. Modules are small packages of everything put together. It can be directives, services, controllers, filters. They are put together in one packet, and that packages we can use together. We can refer one to each other, so our code can be really nice, separated into different modules. So, for example, when we have some kind of application which have admin and user pages which are built with Angular, we can have package with user page and admin page. So the user case related stuff will be on the user module, and the same with admin page. There will be another module for that. And with application core, we can load all the dependencies which are external, like Angular UI or other libraries. Actually, Angular core is on that slide, but it's loaded by default. And the other big thing about Angular is that they say that this framework is testable. I would say that it's the biggest feature, and for me, when I was doing research, and I don't know any other framework which offers as much testability as Angular. So if in your case, if you want to write tests, it matters. But if you are not writing tests, it's just a feature which you are not using. So yeah, depending on your attitude towards tests, this can make a huge difference. And how Angular is accomplishing that thing. In the JavaScript side, when we are writing some controllers or other stuff, we always have dependency injection. So this is this Java idea of inversion of control. Is used like this that way. Whatever we use inside the code, it's coming from outside, and it's done by the framework. And the other thing is with views. With views, all our views are declarative. So whatever I try to use on the view side, I'm getting from the framework. It's some kind injected by the framework. So those like projects, search, add to do text, every single stuff on that list have to be defined on the controller, on the scope exactly. And in that way we can test it. We can write tests which will be checking if this thing is working the way which it's supposed to be. So in short, to keep our code testable, we are supposed never touch DOM in anything outside the directives. This can be tricky for people having a lot of experience with jQuery, because in jQuery you touch DOM every single time when you try to achieve something. But in Angular, the only place where we are supposed to write it is at directives, and if you break this rule, you are actually making all the code untestable, so don't do it. It's a good idea to put as much code into services. It's more about having this code in the nice way written, not that much about testability. On every single global object like Windows, console, and so on, we have Angular services which are injectable. So instead of writing Windows.alert, you just inject objects called $window and then fire alert on that thing. And the other stuff is test-driven development is the way to go. If you want to have testable code, I would say that is the only way to achieve it, because otherwise you won't notice as many little details as in that way. So, coming to tools, the one tool which was already mentioned is Karma. It's really cool test runner. I'm using it on the Linux box. I'm connecting to it even Internet Explorer, so everything works smooth. And right now I have about 300 tests, and they are executed below like 4 or 5 seconds, so it's quite smooth. It works with basically all the test frameworks which are out there. About the Jasmine, it's probably a good idea to use that one, because Angular core tests are written in Jasmine. The other set of tools which plays really nice with Angular, this is Yellman with all that tiny tools which are put into it. They say on their page that it's like not a tool, that Yellman is not a tool, it's a development workflow. So, for example, for getting our code, we use Yellman. We use Yo. It's a small program which generates all the, in the case of Angular, it can generate all the module, all services, classes, and so on. So it's really really nice not to figure it out on your own how to set up tests, how to write every single configuration for Karma, for everything actually to use it. And the other thing which is used in that workflow is Grunt. We have nice tools in Grunt to mimify files. So basically the really good idea is to just use it. And how about materials to learn Angular? I really recommend the Egghead.io. It's a cool page where you can find a lot of videos about Angular. Basically, all the videos are done in a really nice way, and they explain complex stuff in easily. There is cool channel called on the YouTube. There are videos from talks from headquarters of Angular. There is this page, ng module, where you can find all the external libraries for Angular. So basically, all things which was already done, you can try to find out what is available and what is used by the other people. There are two books. I read none of them, but I rather trust this guy, so I guess that it's worth to figure out. And we have a small Angular community in Poland. There is a page on the Facebook, so we can go there to join the community. There is an idea of having a small Angular related conference, so maybe there will be something soon. And basically that's it. And to summarize my talk, AngularJS is just a tool, so yeah, it's just a tool, so we can use it in a good way, we can use it in a wrong way. It offers nice architecture, but still you can mess it, and still you can have horrible code. It's up to you. The main advantage of Angular, for me, is testability. So if you if you want to have your code covered by tests, go for Angular. If you don't care about the tests, find whatever suits you more, or maybe go for Angular as well. And that's it. Do you have any questions? Okay, there are some. So
yeah. Hi, I've got a question because you've mentioned testability many times, and you mentioned unit testing.
Yeah, I was saying about unit testing.
Yeah, and if you do unit testing, do you skip end-to-end testing with Selenium or something like that? And you say that your code is tested because you tested some controllers?
Basically, the practice which you said is a wrong idea, because like you need to test on many levels. And right now we have unit tests for our code, and integration tests or end-to-end tests are done manually. We just didn't figure out how to set up everything to have integration tests as well. But this is the direction which is the best idea, to have everything tested by the machine, not by people.
Yeah, thanks.
Hi, why did you said that Angular is not for games? Could you be more specific about it?
I would say that it can be useful for games, but anyway, it's not the case. It wasn't the driver of Angular. They wasn't trying to figure out how to build the best engine for games. They were trying to figure out how to build the best engine for building boring business application. So there is not much fun.
That's the business way, right?
Pardon?
That's the business way.
Yeah, that's to have forms, to have like whatever business needs, not to introduce animation or whatever.
Thank you.
Hi, I have a question. How do you manage routing in SPAs?
How do I manage what?
Routing.
Routing. There is router in Angular. It works quite nice. There are some features missing, but there is other external router which is quite popular. So you can use all the core router which is built in Angular, or some external tools. So that's the way.
Can you give the name of this external plugin?
Yeah, UI router or something like this.
Okay, thank you.
Guys, we have time for 2 more questions.
I have maybe more remarks than questions. First, I wanted to say that Yo isn't exactly small. I've just checked, and together with all the dependencies, it's 31 megabytes.
Can you repeat, because
the Yo tool.
Yeah, Yo tool. Okay.
Yeah. So, but it's not for the client side, so it's not that much of a problem. And as for the integration testing, I just wanted to say that Angular currently uses so-called Angular scenario, which is constructed in a similar way as other unit tests, and they discovered that it's not the best idea because they have troubles emulating real events. So recently they decided to go another way, and there is the Protractor project by one of engineers of Google, and they plan to switch to that, and it's based on Selenium, but it has much nicer APIs and neatly integrates into Angular, doesn't require to use wait for and other Selenium nastiness. So they plan to rewrite all the integration tests to that.
Yeah, basically this is kind of explanation why I don't have a unit end-to-end test for my Angular code. I was trying to use this scenario runner, and it hurt a little bit. So I hope that this new tool, Protractor, will be more useful.
One last question.
You said that Angular is not suited for every task. So what about connecting AngularJS with other frameworks and using them in elements in which Angular simply does not behave well?
It will be quite complicated, and it depends on the case. But
did you try that?
No, I actually tried a little to have Angular and require.js together, and it seems to me that it was becoming more and more complicated. I cannot imagine like having on the same project Angular and Backbone or Angular and Ember. It will be a mess. So it depends on the tool, because if you will find the tool doing almost the same as Angular, is maybe not a good idea. But if you try to use on the same project Angular and Socket.io, this is completely different stuff. They are doing completely different things. So you can use use them in the nice way together.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. Unfortunately, we don't have any more time for the questions. I'm pretty sure